everyone. Just wanted to say hello. And you're
Hello
watching.
and welcome, and I'm so excited to be here with Glenda.
Hi, Haley.
Hi, Glenda.
Hi, everyone else. You're watching Glenda's Dragons Den. And we do have a special guest who is having a little bit of technical difficulties, but you know what? He's going to be here any second. We're sending good waves out to there to make sure he comes in.
Make sure everything works. AI friends, can you help us out just a little bit? Can you just tune in and just clear up the signal? Chris is here, though, I see from the YouTube. Hey, Chris, how you doing,
Oh,
friend?
cool.
Yes, how you
Yes.
doing?
Hi, Chris.
Two of the bestest hostesses there ever could be. I know, we're so fun, aren't we? I just love hanging out with Glenda.
And I love hanging out with Haley. What can I say?
I
And
gotta
then, of course, Chris. How
and
could we
Chris,
not?
Chris, I love it when you pop up in the comments. We so appreciate you. He's always got
Yes.
good information. I feel like
Yes,
he
he
always
does.
just pulls random facts out of the ether all the time. And thank you for that. We appreciate. We need the fact checkers in the world. Thank
Yes,
you.
exactly. I love it because he not just tells us what it is, he actually researches and tells us facts.
He does. He does some research, and I appreciate. He's a bit sick. Oh, we'll send you good vibes.
Oh, we'll send you good vibes. Yeah, we'll
Send you
send you
good
some
vibes for some
Reiki.
healing. Yes.
We'll send you
Oh,
some Reiki here, hon.
I
We'll
mean,
send you
hey,
some
I get it.
Reiki.
It's that season.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This temperature going up and down. I don't know about you guys, but
It's
over here,
weird.
it's been going up and down, up and down. So I just don't know.
Yesterday,
Um,
unseasonably warm. Today, seasonably appropriate temperature does freak out your nervous system just a little bit.
yeah. So I just um
Well, I was going to ask you,
go ahead.
Glenda, because I know
Uh-huh.
we're working out some of the technical issues on the back end there with Ty. We hope we're
Yeah.
getting it figured out, and we
Yep.
appreciate Matt for being in the back there doing some of his man behind the curtain stuff.
Man behind the curtain.
Man
Yes.
behind the curtain. But
So
I had a thought.
go ahead. What's your thought?
You've been doing the energy world
Uh-huh.
healing for a good amount of time, right? In human linearly speaking,
Inhumanly.
right?
Yes.
I think I've been a little bit in a mode of let's kind of try to declare our victories a bit more than we look at the things we have yet to achieve kind of vibe, right?
Okay.
And I was kind
Okay.
of thinking, at least we do live in a world now where this kind of conversation and this kind of guest that you're going to have on who does
Mm-hmm.
the quantum healing techniques, the quantum hypnosis healing techniques, and the Reiki healing and energy healing. At least we live in a space where we can openly talk about it. Can you
Mm-hmm.
talk a little bit about sort of the evolution you've seen of that and from when you sort of got into actually doing it to now?
Well, the evolution that I've seen is that people are more open to it. But I could tell you, okay, um, still there's some people that are very hesitant, and it's you actually feel that wall even more. What I do want to say about our guest, though, when I was going through breast cancer, which he didn't know, he was actually was doing sessions with him, and he was actually helping me heal a lot of the cancer.
Oh, I love
So
it.
yeah, he just didn't know about it. But
He just didn't know about it. Some of us are healers, and it's just unconsciously, right?
yeah, well, he was. We were doing really good sessions, and he knew a lot of the stuff that was happening from week to week, session to session, and we were really on sync, in tune. So we were really. I was really blessed by his modalities. Now, hi Brian, by the way.
I know I saw, hey, Brian, and
Yes.
we've got Murray is here. He joined us for the Global Ghost Hunt. We've
Yes,
met Murray.
yes,
Good
yes,
times.
yes. I know. Good times,
No,
good
I
times.
do. I do think it is something that again is to be to be grateful for, or to be glad
Right.
that at least we are in a space of people being open to this in ways that they
Right.
haven't previously been.
And it's really interesting because when I started, I never had even heard about Reiki. And the only reason I um the
You were
only
in
reason
sync. Can you sing for us? Actually, I was more of a Backstreet Boys kind of gal, Chris. So sorry. I'd have to do some Backstreet's Back. I'm not quite the bye, bye, bye type. So sorry.
so I was in New York for another class, and something kept telling me to go, um, not to go to that class, to go to a different class, and that's how I started. I just walked in, signed up right there, and I was one of the last people that they accepted, and it's just been there since then. So I don't know. I've been good. I've just been amazed at how different it is. Where now everybody um, knows, or a lot of people knows about it.
You know, the other thing that I was going to ask you is, when you do meet people who are maybe interested, or how would I say, like maybe people who say like, oh, I've wanted to try it, or I've
Mhm.
wanted to do it, but it's difficult to discern, like, you know, who's genuine, who's really doing healing work, who might be, you know, just
I think you should ask that question of Ty.
I
Let's have him back on here.
let's see if we can. Hello, hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey!
Finally, yes.
And we're
Yeah,
live and it's working.
this
Yes.
was fun. Technical
Hello,
difficulties in the
hello.
last one.
Oh, yes. Well, you know what? It's the day before Halloween. We have
Yeah,
no
yeah,
veil. We have
yeah.
energies going crazy all over the place.
Oh yeah, no
Tech
doubt. No doubt.
Technologies are going to be affected for sure.
I had
So,
actually, it's funny you say that because I had a client a couple weeks ago, and
mhm,
one of the things, so we'll get into the QHHT stuff in a bit, but
yeah.
one of this particular client said, I just want to let you know that I have a tendency to knock electronics out of whack. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I mean, I got you, surround you with light, protect you, and all this. Uh, I, I, I put her down, and part
Yeah.
of the process is giving them back a recording of the session, so they know exactly what
Right.
was said, and then they can go over it.
Mhm.
I spent like almost 2 hours with her, and this is the first and only time it's ever happened. No recording, nothing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I put in all this protection and all this really high tech equipment I have, which isn't really that high tech, but it's pretty good.
Mhm.
Well,
It let me down. And she
I
goes, no, it's my fault. And I go, no, it's not your fault. But anyway, okay, technical difficulty. We got past them.
Technical
no,
difficulties.
that is a real thing. I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, when I stand too close to like card machines at checkout, sometimes they just don't work. I have sometimes like
Oh
step
yeah.
back a couple feet and then they go. And I'm like,
I have done scans and the machines have
Oh yeah.
shut off, and I'm like, in hospitals, like, all the computers go off, and I'm like, I'll be right back. I'm gonna step away for a little bit, try to.
It is.
it just made me remember. I touched a screen at my last job once, and like I felt a zap and everything went black.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah.
okay,
Well,
I guess we're done now.
yeah. Well, that's why you don't walk around heart monitors in the hospital. You don't want to mess up those. But that is totally a thing. Everybody has this energy field around them, and some people's are more open and
Mhm.
wide than others, and some are stronger than others, and you can absolutely affect the electronic realm around you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us about you, Ty. I mean, I know you, but the audience
Yeah.
doesn't, and
I
Haley
don't know you.
doesn't
I was gonna
either.
say, I don't know you. Hi,
I
Ty.
know.
I'm Haley. Tell me all
Uh,
about you.
Hi,
There
Haley.
you
Nice to meet
go.
nice to meet you, and Glenda. Thanks for having me on this. It's been a long time, and I wanted to connect with you. And I didn't know it'd be in such a public
Yeah.
forum, but this is awesome.
Ah,
Thanks for this.
we'll do it this way, and then we'll connect
Yeah,
privately. We'll talk.
absolutely. So I'm Ty, and I'm a Canadian. I moved to Chicago in '99, and married and kids and dog, that whole thing. Got divorced. Kids are grown. I'm on my own, which is fun because now I get to explore all the things that I want to, and the things I want to explore are metaphysics and energy healing and all these things. I've never been interested in sports, religion or government, so that takes me out of all the conversations at social gatherings. So,
Mhm.
Us
my
too. It's okay. You're not
yeah,
alone.
yeah. No, I know I'm amongst my tribe.
Yeah,
Sure.
you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, you're in good company.
Yeah, and so I had to find my thing, and as a kid I was into psychic phenomena because of course you're looking for something that's yours that isn't
Right.
one of those other three things. And I found a book on psychic
Mhm.
phenomena and I read it and I'm like, wow, this is really kind of interesting. And so I went down that route and then started looking into the occult and then how to bend things with your mind and telekinesis and telekinetics and all these metaphysical type things. That was my interest, and then it kind of
Mhm.
withered off. And when I had kids, my wife at the time said, there's some behavioral things going on, and typically, doctors want to pump the kids full of medications, and then she's like,
Mhm.
we're not going to do that. So she
Mhm.
went on
Yeah.
a search to find alternative therapies and healings, and we tried a bunch of non-invasive things. She eventually
Mhm.
found an energy healer, and I said, "Wow, that sounds kind of yummy. So let's go." We set up some sessions, and we saw remarkable differences in the children, and myself as well. And I was asking her, I was like, "What exactly are you doing?" Like she's doing all these things, which I know now, but at the time I didn't know what she was doing. She's like holding
Right.
her mudras and she's saying things in her mind and holding points on her body, and then coming over to us, and then she's basically building up an energy recipe on herself, and then coming over to
Mhm.
us and transferring it to us, and then we would have to sit there and she would test to see how long we'd have to sit there, and sometimes it'd be an hour, can't move. I'm like, okay. So I said, what are you doing? And she actually wasn't able to tell me in a way that I understood. Like she didn't know it in a way I need to know. I am a
Right.
typical guy. I like to know the mechanics of what's going on. She said, well, no, I just know how to do what I do and I do it really well. I go, yeah, you do, but I want to know how this works. So I
Right.
figured it out, and I figured out it was what's called muscle testing. And then I read up on that, and I found out who the pioneer of muscle testing was. Applied kinesiology, it's called. And Dr. George Goodhart from the '70s coined that, and he's the
Mhm.
founder. And I happened to find a guy. He was passed away at this point. And now
Mhm.
this is about 14 years ago, by the way. And I happen to find a guy that's 5 hours in the easterly direction from me that teaches this stuff called Touch for Health. And
Mhm.
and I said to my wife at the time, "Hey, I want to take this course." She goes, "Go." So I did, loved it. I took the next 4 courses, and it's 4 things, and I went back and did them all. I'm like, this is my this is my calling. This is what I want to do.
Mhm.
Where and what this really is the ability to ask the body, not just the body, but a biological um, entity of, for lack of a better term, yes no questions.
Mhm.
So we would ask the body, like, where is the source of the pain? I know you're feeling it here, but where's the root cause? Oh, it's in your lower lumbar. I can find these things out by just asking a whole series of clever yes no questions. And then we have a tool set, and we say, okay, well, which tool would be the best thing to use to fix that root cause? And then we go through the tools, and your body tells me which. I do it, and it works, and everybody happy. And so in my training phases, Glenda and I managed to connect, and she was my guinea pig for a while, and past the training phase, I just kept meeting with her because it was so much fun, and we would do.
Glenda is so much fun.
I know, and you get to.
Well, I was
work
able
with
to
her,
give
right?
him feedback, so in a
Yes.
different level. Like I could
Yes.
say, oh, I could feel this energy here, there, or whatever. So, but
Oh, I know.
Chris, I'll
And
take how to
Glenda-
feel better for 1,000, won't we all?
Yeah. Well, and Glenda, do you remember years ago, I was working on you, and then you said something like, oh, wait a minute, there's somebody coming in for you. And I said, oh, okay, well, let's pause for a second and let you do that. And you were connecting to me, and you go, hey, wait a minute, there's like a big dog or something preventing me from connecting. Talk to my guides about that. Maybe it's just like an auto defense thing.
right.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
I need to know more about this. Did you have like a guard dog you didn't know about? Like,
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of his guides who wouldn't let me connect to him. Was really protective of it.
Yeah, and I kind of think it was only because we were focused, and the only reason, because I did go back and I said, hey, what's going on with this dog? And and what I got back, and I do remember this, was that hey, we were in a mode, we were going forward this direction, and we can't have interruptions. You need to finish that flow that you were in.
Right.
Because I'm like ADD. We'll call it ADD, but we'll get back to that ADD thing in a second. So that's why that was presented to you, because you didn't want to interrupt the energy. Because when I connect to somebody remotely, there's an energy flow. I have to connect to you, and that connection is a fluid, continuous flow of information. Right. And when you were connected to me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just stand back and let you do your thing, because I knew this was your thing, and I was really excited to let that happen.
Right.
But the team said, nope, put the dog there. No, go back. Yeah.
Go back.
But isn't that nice to know, though, that you have your team on your side, that it's not just like protecting you from harmful things, but it is also a certain like, hey, not right now on this one. We're going here first. We'll get to the side quest in a hot minute. We know you like that stuff, but you got to finish the main quest here for just a minute.
Right.
Exactly. And it could have been, and yes, you're right, Haley. That's a beautiful thing to recognize, that they got my back, not in a way, in a like a woo woo way. It's like, no, it's a dog, and it was a kind of funky. I think if I remember you correctly, it was like a bulldog, but it had some features that were not bulldog-like, but just enough to let you know not to go
anywhere else.
But
just a little nudge, just like, hey, I don't want to be mean or nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
But not right now.
Not right now. Exactly. That's all.
But
Because
they
wanted us to finish the flow of energy in the session.
Yes.
The session.
And it was since then that I had a greater appreciation, and even more, I guess, a stronger connection to my team.
Right.
So that was cool. Maybe that's why that had to unfold the way it did. But
there's no coincidences.
No, there
are
not.
no coincidences. I love that. And my dad has a lot of actually like sort of guard dog type energy, and always has, and from the other side of the veil where he is now, right? Like definitely always has a little bit of I know he's protective of me, but it has a lot of that kind of. I trust his judgment of people, just like I trust my dog's judgment of people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So
Mhm.
you're saying that when somebody around you starts to step beyond the boundaries, he'll step in and kind of do something?
Dad's always got his own little ways of being like, I'll stand back and I'll let you try. I'll watch you and give you space.
Excellent.
But when it's time, and
Excellent. Yeah. And you can count on those connections, from our loved ones, from those you connect to, whatever you're resonating at. You might bring in higher realms, we call them higher vehicles to connect to, and you become friendly with their energies, and you become more open to accepting them into whatever form that connection is. If it's to channel, or if it's to just communicate and say hi back and forth, or if it's to provide information. But you as you climb in this kind of spiritual realm, you do open up to those energies. But then you can connect to some not so benevolent ones. So you got to have your discernment in place. So when I meditate in the morning, and I say when, because I actually am doing it in the morning now. I used to say it, but not actually do it. But now I say, I'm open to all energies at or above my own frequency that have my highest and best good in mind. And that way it kind of gives me anybody smarter than me or better than me or whatever we want to say, but also has my highest and best interests in mind.
Because Loki is super very intelligent, right? But like
Loki is not exactly.
That's not who you're looking for all the time, right?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Hey man, you're fun at a party and stuff like that. Beetlejuice.
Yeah, exactly.
But when I'm doing the real work, like it's like, okay, we got to get the Archangel Michael types in here, right?
Right.
Like,
Yep, that's a brilliant example. So you mentioned.
I love it.
Yeah, the QHHT stuff. Let me tell you about that, because it's kind of cool. That's what my thing is right now. So QHHT is quantum healing hypnosis technique, and it's a tool created by Dolores Cannon. If you've heard of her, she passed in about 2014, I believe, but she had been a past life regression therapist for many years, like 40 some odd years ago, I think, was when she really started down that path. And she's very good at asking questions and understand. Her interests were in our realm, into the metaphysics, into space, into aliens, that kind of thing. So when she was progressing through these sessions, she found that after tweaking her techniques this way and that way, she brought the clients into a what's called a theta state. Typically, a therapist will bring you into an alpha state. So we're in beta right now. We're in like alert beta, and then there's alpha, which is kind of twilight, which is where a typical therapist will take you, so that you're somewhat suggested, but you're highly aware.
Right.
And then theta is a state where your conscious mind kind of steps aside for the most part, and you're very suggestive, but you're still in control. But it's just basically where you're about to fall asleep. So it's just before the hypnagogic state. And when you're there, she found that you could easily go into a past life or a future life or a parallel life, whatever life it is. It's just a non-current present life. And then you become the entity that you were in that time space. And you are able to communicate. She's able to communicate with you real time. So she calls that the somnambulistic state, if I got that word right. I've never heard it before, so I don't use it. But somnambulistic is when you're able to communicate real time with a person that is in a past life.
Right.
So anyway, this technique, she's refined it down to a science, and she now had taught it, turned it into a teachable thing, and called it QHHT.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the procedure is basically get the client, we go through an interview to get their conscious mind busy and tired out, and then bubble up information about them, so that when they're in that state, if something comes up like a repeating pattern, you might catch that and be able to navigate them around it, and then make note of it.
Right.
But the key thing is when you get to the end. So the idea is you take them through a series of stages, and I won't get into the stages, but the ice cream on the cake is when you get to talk to the higher self at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the fun really happens, because now you're talking not to the past life entity, which could be, by the way, you could be a plant, you could be a rock,
Mm-hmm.
you could be anything. You could be you could be awareness, and this has happened many times. But when we take them to the end and we talk to the higher self, that's when we get to have the fun. And the client would come equipped with a series of questions, and we unload the questions, and the higher self responds. And then the other part is they also come with a series of medical issues that they want either answers to or addressed. Now, the higher self can fix anything. So, are you getting any background noise here from me? I got my
It's
door.
okay. It's just confirmation from the universe that you're saying something that's on point. So like
There
when
you
you're
go.
when you're
There you
on
go.
brand and you get the noise in the background, it's just a little high five from the all that is, being like,
Okay.
yep, keep rolling.
There.
I dig that. Okay, good. So we asked the higher self, hey, the client came in, she had these questions, can you answer them? Yes. The answer is usually yes. And we go through those, and then I'd say, all right, well, they came in with a heart issue, or diagnosed cancer in the bladder, or a brain issue, or poor eyesight, or anything, whatever it is. And we'd say, why is that there? First of all, oh, well, that was there because they were stabbed in the eye with a sword in their third, life back. That's why I showed it to you, because actually the higher self is the one that drives what life you are presented. And so, yeah, they were stabbed with a weapon, and they carried it through the lives, and they don't need that anymore. It's a karmic thing. They've cleared the karma. I'll just fix that. And so they go ahead and fix that, and then we're like, cool, what else? And then they might have a series of medical issues that they want addressed. So we go through that list, and at the very end, we'd say, hey, could you do a body scan? Just like maybe they didn't catch something, just like do a body scan, would you please, and find and fix,
Right.
and talk to me while you're doing it. So, oh yeah, okay, well, we see some neurological stuff going on here. We're fixing that. And there's some blockage in an artery near the throat, and so on and so forth. We're clearing that, and good, we're all done. So client gets up, how do you feel? And then we have the session, a post-session talk. And well, how do you feel? Well, in some cases, like, oh my God, the pain that I've had since a child is gone. And do you remember the session? Because sometimes they do. Sometimes they're completely aware through the whole thing. Sometimes they're not. And then I will send them home with a recording of that whole session, so that perhaps whatever they didn't hear, they can play through and then catch, valuable information that they needed to be exposed to. So anyway, that's what QHHT is, and I got onto it because I thought oh man, if we could get the client to talk to their higher self to heal anything, then why? I mean, I have a lot of books here on the shelf, right? There's a lot of modalities of stuff, and it's all very cool. I love it all. But there's a lot of intricate work, a lot of recalling how to do certain procedures, and a lot of belief in the practitioner. But I find myself quite trustworthy and believable usually. So I think they walk away with good feelings about that. But when you say this is your higher self, I'm not actually doing really anything. I'm just navigating you through it. And here it is on the recording. And you asked me to ask your higher self about this, and that's the answer. And I've had myself a few sessions. And Haley, this is why I asked this is why I said I would get back to the ADD thing. I had as one of my questions, what's with the ADD stuff? And
please and thank you. Can I please have at least, you don't need to fix it if it's something I can utilize as a superpower. I'm here to, but tell me, how do I wield this sword here, people? Like, I don't know what, you got to give me some instructions. Where's the manual?
Well, yes, that's those. Yeah, exactly. Well, here's what I got. He said, it's not, I mean, they've called it ADD, but that's not what it is. What is happening is you're communicating on different dimensions all at the same time. That's why you're distracted from the present reality, because part of your brain is in one or more realities doing other things at the same time. So the stuff that's going on in this reality isn't nearly as important, or at least demanding your attention as much as those things are. So we have pills to keep that from happening. And when we see our children go through these symptoms, we try to stop it. And this is the shame. This is the dark shame, is that we do stop it in some cases, and the kids don't get to nurture these advanced skills. Being in multiple dimensions at once. So anyway, so that's what I got back. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great, because anybody who has ADD, and who doesn't nowadays,
we all do, because the veil is thinning. We're all getting better at understanding our multidimensional existence, and that's not a bad thing. But we do just need a little bit more assistance for everyone in. You can breathe through that and learn how to navigate. It is an individual process, but that's why there's people like Ty out there who can help you speak to your higher self and be like, hey, can we get just a hot second where we could have a meeting, y'all? Can we call a powwow? Can we?
Yeah. Well,
Knights of the Round Table, gather now.
Yeah. And this is and shows like yours, exposing the idea that these are not things to suppress. These are not things that demand a change in the child or the adult or medications to take. This is something that needs to be nurtured the way it is.
And just give the person the tools and the skills to maybe work through it. And learn how to remember. Because if you work through it, you can step by step learn how to remember what's happening in the other realms when you bring it here. You come back here. So you bring that memory and say, oh, okay, I was working in such and such a place. So that's why I was kind of here, but I was doing
that's exactly
work over there.
Allowing them to express those thoughts that are coming in that don't make sense to the guardians or the parents or whatever. Allowing and having open parents to say, okay, well, talk to me about that. What are you feeling? What are you seeing? What is it you're experiencing? Well, let's explore that a bit more, because I'm hearing more about that, and it looks like you're getting your gifts. It may be that you were like a healer of some sort in a past life, which you carried these skills forward. And this is one of the beautiful things, is that the reason we keep reincarnating is because we're building up skills. You know, you're building up a skill set, and you get to carry some of that forward to the next iteration.
Mhm.
When you transition away from this reality, all your experience gets uploaded to a cosmic database.
Right.
You know, and here's something really cool. I'm really excited about this piece. And this is what Dolores Cannon figured out through talking to aliens and ghosts and all sorts of entities through the sessions, is that when you have somebody coming in to incarnate here on Earth, and perhaps it's their first incarnation here. They could have incarnated on many other planets or never at all.
Right.
But they're coming in. And perhaps they want to come in at maybe, and this is an example, at a high managerial, maybe a high political level. They want to experience that. But they don't have the experience to know how to deal with the heaviness of the emotions that go along with all that, you know, because there's a lot. You don't just
Right.
you don't just step into it. Well, normally, people that incarnate, beings that incarnate, will go through a series of life experiences. That gets brought back, and they carry that with them. But it goes up to this global cache,
Right.
all their experiences, and they can keep coming back, and they can use their skills from prior to build upon the next experience. Well, this person coming in, this being that's coming in that has no experience, says, I want to do this particular, I want this kind of life, but I can't go in empty-handed. So you can actually extract from the experiences of others. You can extract a life experience, and it's called an implant. I even wrote it down. An imprint. It's an imprint.
Yes.
Where you get imprinted upon your soul the experience of one or more beings that had the experience that will help you through the incarnation that you want. So when you get that being maybe on the table in a QHHT session, Dolores's question was, okay, well, this imprinting is very cool, but how will I know if I'm talking to somebody that's their first life, or they've got the imprints of many lives? And the being said, it doesn't matter, and you won't know. You just won't know. So that was the first time they said it really doesn't matter. Everything else has a reason, but this said, they said it doesn't matter. So anyway, that's.
Well, you know, one of the things that that I'm thinking of right now, my friend Sage once said that we're all living this new experience now together for the first time.
Yeah.
Like you're only in the now moment experiencing what you're experiencing because this is the first time you've done it. You've done all the other parallel lives. You've done all the other things. You've experienced it. You're here now and seeing this now because this is the first time you've done it. And so like tapping into those other selves is like tapping into your sort of video game skill sets, right? Like the Dungeons and Dragons, if you will. What are my skill set points I want to have? How do I download that?
Yeah, your experience points and stuff. That's right. And that this is another point that that I think is valuable to know, is that all your past lives, your future lives, your parallel lives, they're all now. They're all happening. They're all happening now. There's nothing other than the present, which dovetails. Hang on a sec. Which dovetails onto something kind of interesting. I experienced a short while ago some trauma where I had to deal with some emotions that I haven't had to feel for a long time, and I thought, okay, well, it's good. I mean, it's good because now I've recognized it, or I was made aware of these emotions, that they were triggers that I need to deal with. Great. I'll fix them.
Right.
So as I'm working through them, I'm noticing they're kind of deep. I'm like, wow, this is really tough. So working through them, and as I'm working through them, I'm like, okay, so I've worked through this for a while, and it's taken longer than I want.
Mhm.
What's going on? So I keep digging and pulling out all this crap, exposing it, and then I find that you can change your past.
Mhm.
Your history. Your history is a construct that doesn't really exist, but it's needed for our three-dimensional minds to make sense of the now. The
Mhm.
now can only exist if there was a beginning, right? And the beginning must have, or there must be something prior to now as far as our brains are concerned. So we construct this past that makes sense, that occurred, such that now is me and with my memories. So what I've learned is that you can change your past by changing your present.
Mhm.
So how do you do that?
Mhm.
You change your present by changing your resonance. So in the case that I'm talking about, like I want the source of the emotional trauma to never have been there in the first place.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I sit and I'll meditate and I'll feel, okay, well, what would that be like? What would that be like to never having met her or never had this experience with her? And then there's like a flood of like, it feels clean, feels like a weight is lifting, and it
Mhm.
starts to disappear. I'm like, aha. So that's and that feeling is your resonance changing. Your resonance
Mhm.
changes, the emotions start to disappear, or anything tied to it starts to disappear. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
so that's what I think I want to focus on. And the longer you stay in that resonant state of whatever it is you desire, the more that your body and your energy systems will adjust to that truth.
Mhm.
And at some point, when you are beyond the doubting point, that
Mhm.
history will be rewritten. And we can do
The
this with. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, the question that I have here is to do with, when you get into this kind of work and exactly what you're talking about, the idea of revising your past to change your future, right? Like quantum physics tells us that the quantum physics equations all work in both directions, right? There,
Mhm.
it is only just the now. It's what you
Yeah.
have on this side has to equal this side and vice versa. It's not that one comes before the other. It's just that they both have to equal each other. When you start doing this kind of work, and I know this has been something for me that's come up, is that how do I want to say it? You get caught up in the overthinking of the process of it and lose a little bit of the trust in the higher self to understand what your intention is and carry it out in the highest way for you, right? So what can you tell people who maybe have that tendency to get caught up in the sort of overthinking, I need to solve the puzzle with this part of my brain,
Right.
right?
Um,
Rather than allow the flow of energy.
the answer is always get out of your own way, because we have so many things that we were brought up with, doubts and fears and
Mhm.
biases that say we can't do this. Um, and if we can do this, why isn't it happening when I try to manifest something? I've been trying to manifest, a brand new car, and I'm still sitting on a bicycle out here.
Mhm.
Well, because there's a belief system that if you don't have a belief system that allows that truth to become to turn into fruition, then that's the thing. That's your block stepping in your own way, saying you can't do it.
Right.
I got 90% belief in it because I've been told by every person I'm hanging with says, yes, you can do it. But I don't know if I can do it. you know, like, I know you guys can do it, but I don't think I'm worthy of it, or I don't think I'm special enough, or I don't think, you know, and insert all sorts of commentary there. Which dovetails into something else I want to talk about. And there's only 15 minutes left.
You're gonna have to come back again.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to
exactly.
I have, like,
Part two.
Part two, you're gonna have to join me on my podcast. Glenda's gonna have to come over. We're gonna have to like just read all the podcasts.
Yeah, just do the circuit.
And
I
you
would
get
love-
that
I would
lasso
love to.
out.
I have like 2 whiteboards in front of me right now. One is like left over from a class I taught a short while ago. Another one is a bunch of notes that I want to talk about. And I'm like, I don't know what my brain is like, you know. All right. So
It's that ADH being. I am an ADH being, and I follow like all the things. Where's the boomerangs? Which one did I grab it? Grab the one I wanted to talk about. It's okay. We're with you.
We got this. We got this.
We got this.
Yeah.
Just as much as you can get out, and then we'll just lasso you back in again for another episode.
There you go.
Fair enough. Then really quickly, there's a chap named David Hawkins who created the book Power versus Force. And he talks about in the book, and it's a highly recommended book. This is it. And would highly recommend you read it if you haven't. He talks about consciousness, and he's basically gauged states of being and emotions on a logarithmic scale. And anything below a particular number, emotions like courage. Courage is at a logarithmic number of 200. Anything below that, we're talking like pride and anger and fear, desire, grief, apathy. Those are all several levels below and drop in number. Those are all considered the power. The force. The force in the power versus force. And everything above 200, which is neutrality, willingness, acceptance, you get up to love. Enlightenment is the highest one. There's peace, joy in there as well. As you achieve those levels of emotion and you maintain them, he's got logarithmic numbers that say, you know, anything above the log of 200, above courage and above, is actually feeding you energy. Any feeling or emotions or states of being below that, it's draining you. So that's what I wanted to get to, is that when we have these belief systems that prevent us from moving forward in whatever it is, with a partner, with a job, with anything, we have a voice in our head that tells us something. You're amazing. You know, you can do this. You've got the strength. You've got the smarts. This is no problem for you. Or you're ugly and you're dumb and you're not going to do it. You failed at too many things. You're never going to do that. Okay, well, those voices come and test you once in a while. And the ones that bring you down and try to drain your energy, it's very important you don't listen to them, because they are lies. They're just deep lies. And you have, when you catch them telling you these things, you have to recognize where they are coming from, so that you can cut them out. You can push them away and say, nah, I don't think that's true. Well, how about you figure out where they're coming from and dissolve that part in you? That's what we call shadow work. I can't do this. I'm not good enough because my mom used to tell me that I was never good at anything and I'm a moron. Okay, well, look at that. Look at that. Where is it? Where do you feel it? Is that, and hold it out in front of you and say, is this true? And you're like, well, no, I'm not a moron. Okay, well, throw it away. Why are you holding on to something that's not true?
Right.
So throw it away. All right, good. So that's gone. And it might show up once in a while to test you. Is it really gone? You know? So now that's an important that's an important thing to recognize.
You actually did that with me when we
I
were
did?
doing. Yes,
Yeah. Well,
we did.
we did a lot of things.
Yes.
We did a lot of.
You
We
and
got
I-
real busy.
He changed. He kept saying, "What do you want to work on?" Wherever they
I
want to
know.
go.
I was
Wherever
throwing
they
the book.
go.
I was throwing the complete book of tools at you, and it was so much fun. We kept.
I love it. You know what? Just that's what I love about Glenda. All of it. Bring me all
Yeah.
of it.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
That's why you and I get along
Why
so
should
well.
I direct? It's not me.
Right?
Well-
Don't ask my human to know what's going on.
Right.
Right.
I'm here on Earth. What do I know?
Right. So
Well,
I figured let them all do it.
so the intention behind it was, do you have any pains but hell no, we'll just ask the body and let it drive, which was so much fun. It's always been fun working with you, Glenda. You know, because then we talk about ghosts and I've been catching some of your other podcasts, the ghosty stuff. That's really neat. That's another topic I'd love to talk about.
Oh, yes,
well,
that's a whole other 6 podcast episodes you just signed yourself on for. Well done.
exactly.
You.
Well,
it on,
we'll have
baby.
him all over the place. I am going to put your email address up there so people can have that at least, you know, and
Yeah.
slowly contact you. We
Yep.
don't want people not to find you.
No,
And
they find me.
We'll do Instagram for you there. Facebook.
Instagram,
That's
Facebook.
That's where I found Ty.
Is that where it was? Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess
actually,
so, right?
at that Reiki group.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. I was trying to think. I was trying to think how we met. And it was so
That's
much.
how we met.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And we're just
I saw an academy there though that came up. Can you bring that back up? Tell me about your academy.
Yeah, Vibe Life
Just
Academy.
quick.
It's a page I created a while ago to collect thoughts, you know, and then I don't have a personal page yet. So I thought, okay, well, let's direct people there, and then in the meantime we can collect and talk in there and share ideas and tools and thoughts and all sorts of yummy stuff, metaphysics and whatever people want to talk about.
I love it.
Yeah. I really want to, what do we got? Like 7 minutes. At some point, if you bring me back on, I want to talk about empaths. There's because it's been a big thing, you know. Well, it's been a big thing. Empaths are the kind of a next evolutionary step. Actually, they're an old evolutionary step. They're an advanced evolutionary step because they're so receptive to energy, and and they need, some of them need assistance. They're not like guided well enough. They don't know what these feelings and these emotions that aren't theirs. They don't know that they're not theirs, and why are they here? So it would be a great topic to chat about and give them some tools to.
I think that's
so. I think in like 2 weeks we should have Ty back.
Yeah,
I think we absolutely should, and we should
definitely
we should talk about empaths because I think we're definitely in a space where a lot of people are kind of coming online and remembering their capacities to tune in, but they don't have a lot of guidance that isn't the sort of.
They don't know how to bubble up. They don't know how to create that wall so they don't get bombarded with all that negativity, especially right now.
Yes.
You know,
and the typical pairing of narcissists to the poor empaths, you know, they're just innocent little beings, and they're just being put into these situations, which is helpful because they end up, you know, finding themselves and building and then growing. But it's I'd like to give them tools.
Some tools, or at least so they could grow. Faster and get out of that situation faster.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I love it. I'm so excited. Look at that. We've already got. You're already just contractually obligated to hang out with us for a longer period of time.
I'm so in. I want to do this.
There you go.
I've got a whole boatload of things I want to talk about, but
we have about 4 minutes. What do you want to tell the audience at this point that quickly that you haven't covered? We already know you're coming back. So,
We already know you're coming back.
and they're going to be sitting at the edge of their seat because, this is a very interesting podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you pick? And now I've got like 4 minutes. Forgiveness. All right, forgiveness. It's the most powerful release of any kind of situation where you feel you've been wronged by anybody. And the only way to release yourself from that binding energy that's got its hold on you is to forgive the situation and to remind them, forgiveness is not saying whatever they did was okay. Forgiveness is the severing of that energy and the release of it, so you can let it go. It's some guy did a great a reel on it. He goes, okay, he's holding this 10-pound weight. He goes, I'm going to hold this until you apologize. Oh, and you wronged me too. So I'm going to hold this 5-pound weight until you apologize. So those people have carried on with their lives and forgotten all about you, and you're still holding on to the weight.
Yeah,
You forgiving them is releasing the weight and letting it all go.
Yeah,
it's not saying it's okay. It's saying that I don't want to do it. Yeah.
It's a revision of the imprint that your memory says is there from whatever happened. So now revise what happened. You don't like your past, revise the past, and your now could be different, right? So you can integrate that kind of process into that situation.
Yeah.
It's difficult to forgive something that you feel very traumatized by, but if you switch that paradigm and say, well, no, I'm just revising the past so that didn't happen in that way.
Right.
Yep.
Now I don't have that weight to hang on to because that's not what happened anymore.
Yep. You could change your past, or you could just say it's okay. The whole situation, I've thought it through. I don't need it anymore. I don't need that connection anymore. I forgive that situation. It's done.
As I usually call it, I unplugged that USB cord.
I unplugged that USB cord. You have hit the eject button on the little disc or whatever. Like,
there we go. God, that's the old computers now. Don't go there. You're not that old, woman.
I may not be, but let me tell you, that was the funnest time when I was a kid playing with those old computers. But that's again a whole other podcast conversation.
Yep. I want to be on that one too.
Okay.
You are invited already.
He's gonna be here for like 10 weeks.
You're just gonna be stuck here for a hot minute. We did, hey.
What are you doing for St.
Patrick's? We're going to hang on to you till St. Patrick's Day, and then you shall be released.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Tylee, because it's so much fun talking to you. It always has been.
Yeah, likewise.
You bring so much knowledge, and you explain things in such a way that people can understand it. Because a lot of the times that can happen to you. Oh, I should do this, but they don't know how to explain it so it could just be understood. And a lot of times, what we need is that understanding. So,
and that's my goal, is to help people understand stuff. So thank you.
All right, people, we all love you. We send you good wishes, and for those that celebrate tomorrow, happy Halloween. Bye.
Happy Halloween. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.